Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Yogaphora Conversations. I am Andrea Spadafora, owner of Yogaphora LLC, professional massage therapy and yoga, located here at the CIBC Place building in Brentwood, Missouri. So this is our long-form interview where we slow things down and we explore the human story behind meaningful work, not just what people do, but who they become through the process of building, serving, adapting, and staying grounded over time. These are not promotional clips. Those are not sound bites. They are conversations rooted in lived experience where business, values, faith, embodiment, and inner development naturally intersect. Today, I'm very honored to be joined by Missy Friedman Coleman.
I know it's a mouthful, isn't it?
It is a mouthful. She's a St. Louis-based entrepreneur, skincare strategist, radio host, and a steward of a legacy brand that has quietly shaped how people think about clean, intentional skincare for more than 4 decades. Missy is the president of Sage Skincare Solutions, an Aloe-based skincare line founded in 1982 by the late Barbara Strickland, a certified paramedical esthetician whose life's work was making the world more beautiful, one face at a time. Missy worked alongside Barbara for years before carrying the company forward after Barbara's passing in 2019. With a deep commitment to integrity, formulation quality, and honoring the spirit of what was built. Beyond skincare, Missy is also the producer and host of 2 weekly radio shows on the My Genre radio network. Sage Advice with Melissa, focused on mind, body, spirit wellness, and It's Your Business, where entrepreneurs share real-world wisdom about growth, leadership, and sustainability. What drew me to this conversation is not just Missy's professional breadth, but the way she weaves faith, discernment, service, and resilience into both her business decisions and her personal life, including her roots here in St. Louis, her commitment to community, and her lived experience within an interracial marriage. Missy, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So wonderful.
This is a pleasure to be here with you.
Glad to have this conversation. And we met at, just to remind ourselves and our audience, we met at BLN, the Business Leadership Network, that you were hosting back in the time when you had your office in the Hill neighborhood, right?
Yes.
So,
and actually, we met initially at BNI in Webster because you were there and I was subbing in for the husband.
That's right. A big shout out to our mutual friend, Michael Fritzius.
Yes.
That definitely deepened our connection.
Correct.
For sure.
Yes.
So let's talk about before we talk about business, I would love to start with you. So where did you grow up and what shaped you early on?
Well, I guess my parents probably shaped me early on. You know, I grew up in St. Louis. For those of people that know St. Louis and the Olivet area. And, you know, my parents were always hardworking, but, you know, I didn't come from means. And I lived,
money, you mean?
Right. And I lived in a very prominent school district here in St. Louis. And, you know, it just really made me strive and reach for more. So I would say I probably had that entrepreneurial spirit at a very young age. I started selling Avon, believe it or not, in 8th grade. My mother had to sign for me to do it because I was their youngest rep.
Incredible.
And I did that up until the time I turned 16. And I got into waiting tables because I had to work a little bit and make a lot of it.
Yeah.
So you know, it was
you
good
really
in
make
school.
money legally at the time, but before you were 16? Was that legal to be an entrepreneur?
So my mom had to sign for me. So
I
she
gotcha.
was kind of like the rep, but I was the one doing the business. But it was my money. My grandparents taught me how to start saving money at a young age. So I had my own savings account already in 8th grade. And
that's awesome. Yeah. So looking back, what values were modeled for you and your family or environment through words, action, or unspoken expectations?
I would say definitely a strong work ethic. You know, even though I didn't come from means, my parents had very strong work ethics. They were very loyal in their duties to their companies that they worked for. And, I think that just kind of set the pace for that. And, I was just taught at a young age to be gracious and grateful.
Mhm.
And, it just has kind of
Sounds
been part
amazing.
of my fabric.
So tell me, was entrepreneurship something you saw growing up or something you grew into later?
I would say it was something I felt internally.
Hmm.
It was not something I saw. I
Mhm.
didn't come from a family that was very entrepreneurial.
So they work for somebody else.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And I always wanted more. And
Nice.
so I was always doing something extra, even when I was working.
So you did have the entrepreneurial bug, as they call it.
Like I said, in 8th grade, I was selling Avon, and I was like one of their top reps.
Fantastic. So and how faith or spirituality show up in your early life? Tell me about your, how religion or spirituality was lived.
I was raised Jewish.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I would say at a young age, we were pretty strict as far as, keeping kosher and being home on Shabbat, and
So there were rituals and traditions.
Exactly. And then, my dad was much more strict in his practice than my mom, and he would always tease she ruined me. So we moved away from the kosher stuff. And, as I got into high school, there were so many things, on the weekends, and, we kind of just moved away from those strict traditions of, we always did Friday night dinner no matter what. But as far as services and things like that, we kind of ventured away.
Interesting.
And then I just kind of followed more a spiritual path. I was always interested in religion in general. As my mom always said, I had a melting pot of friends, as far as diversity and religion and everything. So I was always curious just about humans in general.
Absolutely. Wonderful. Yeah. In fact, even in my own personal experience, I came from Italy and I had no choice but to be Catholic, right?
Right.
You're either Catholic or you're Catholic.
Exactly.
But you're right that all the strictness, all of the rituals that are based on force, because everybody else does it, you must do it as well. You must follow the crowd. You must follow the herd. Mm-hmm. So it seems to me that everything that is forced as is days numbered. It's temporary. It's temporary in nature.
Everything's temporary.
Everything in general is temporary, but at least coming from a place of inspiration rather than imposition is what people tend to stick with better.
Yes.
And that was my case. In fact, I traveled the world. I went to New Zealand, Thailand, and then a little bit of Europe. And finally, I landed to the US, where, as you know, being the land of freedom, allegedly so,
right.
We
make it look pretty.
But you're free to choose your own religions without the imposition of maybe a government or the mainstream religion. Yeah. So happy to be here with you today. So let's talk about entering the world of skincare. Mm-hmm. How did skincare first enter your life personally and not professionally yet?
Well, personally, I'm a girl. It's kind of a rite of passage,
Be the doll up.
Yeah, exactly. We dressed up with each other as kids. We got into our mother's makeup and, their creams and lotions and all that good stuff. So I think it was already in my fiber. And then I ended up coming to Sage via her coming to me as an accounting client. Because Anthony and I had our own consulting firm. So Barbara came to me for accounting purposes. Mm-hmm. And I realized she was doing this whole thing all by herself. I'm like, well, how is this working? And how is it going to last?
Yes.
Because as soon as I tried her product, I was just blown away. And, it's an aloe-based line, like you said, and I was hooked.
So this was back in 2012, right?
Correct.
2012. So the company was already established by Barbara.
Yes.
Okay, very interesting. Very interesting. So what was Barbara like as a mentor and a teacher?
She was incredible. She had a clever wit. So, we would kind of feed off of each other. We got along tremendously well. We kind of had mother-daughter sometimes me mother, her daughter, her mother, me daughter. We're about 20 years apart in age, and she was just an amazing spirit. I mean, like, she loved to cook and bake, and she was a world traveler, and like, she just had endless stories. And then she was just brilliant with skincare. I mean, like,
it's definitely a talent,
amazingly brilliant. And so I just found her absolutely fascinating.
Any industry faces competition in any marketplace, so you have to persuade, not manipulate, but persuade that your products are more valuable, or at least as valuable as many others. So you definitely saw something special into the Sage skincare, and that's what I would love to talk about that in just a little bit. So how did working with a paramedical esthetician shape how you think about skin health? I mean, tell me what it is, a paramedical esthetician.
So it's not technically given out anymore, but Barbara, at the time she was doing all this, she trained under a dermatologist. So she had that medical knowledge. Even on her certificate, she received a paramedical certificate because of her medical background. So her and Dr. Fulton, who is the doctor she worked for, created their own initial first line of skincare products. He was very advanced in his thought on skincare. He was not a big proponent of even the medicines that were available back then to treat people with acne and rosacea and eczema and all those things. And he felt there were better ways, both from eating and topical things that could be done that would assist in those, conditions, not diseases, but conditions. So it really paved the way for her to really get a knowledge that she would not have just gotten going through aesthetic school.
Yes. Okay. So you mentioned that this degree or this certification of paramedical esthetician no longer exists. So you're either a dermatologist, you go to dermatologist school, or you become a licensed esthetician. Right? Correct. And you are a licensed esthetician?
I am not. I am just, so I have everything in my brain. Okay. She taught me very well how to research, how to look at medicines that our clients are taking, how to determine what might be causing a problem. But I am not a licensed esthetician, but I am dangerous. That's why I designate myself a skincare strategist. Interesting. Because honestly, anything that is happening topically is a result of what is happening inside.
Inside, absolutely. So, and good health is multifaceted. It's a combination of so many factors, whether it's environmental factors and your lifestyle, sleep patterns, eating, nutrition, and just general work. Absolutely. And, exercise or lack thereof. So, but definitely taking care of your skin is a powerful ally into your healthcare regime, 100%. So carrying a legacy forward, I want to talk about taking over a business after the founder passes is no small thing. So what was it for you, this transition emotionally?
It was a lot. Because at the time in which Barbara passed away, it was roughly a year before COVID. So it was kind of it takes a good 6 months just to even get everything out of the space we were in, start getting it set up, start, getting your bearings. So I feel in a certain way, and, as we always talk on my radio show, Sage Advice with Melissa, there are no accidents. Things are just divinely guided always. And, I feel like if I didn't have the challenges, I don't know if we would still be here. And I've learned so much. It's really been a roller coaster.
I love that you mentioned everything is divinely guided. And one of my favorite spiritual mentors, Dr. David Hawkins, talks about how everything arises spontaneously by virtue of divine grace. And at a certain level of consciousness, in the realm of love and unconditional love and peace and joy, the experience of living is one continuous miracle after another.
Correct.
You start to experience and recognize little synchronicities. It's nothing is just everything is a spontaneous coincidence. You start to notice and you recognize and give value to the right people at the right time. And that's one of the things that happened to me. Like, how did I happen to get here in St. Louis, Missouri, all the way from Italy? It's not that the stork just dropped me here, but there is a series of circumstances that I believe I attracted. So let's see, what responsibility did you feel stepping now into that role?
Everything. I was responsible for the growth of the business, the failure of the business. It's like when you're an entrepreneur and you are the only one doing the business. It's kind of like a book that I read. It's like, all the wins are yours, all the failures are yours. Like there isn't anybody else there to take on that pressure of keeping that business going.
Did you have a team? Did you have a collaborator or two, or your husband?
I had family members.
Okay. Yes.
That helped in doing things.
Family is our power base, right?
Yeah. My mom kind of was my other brain. Like she did all the things that I didn't like to do, and kind of kept me on track. And
what are the things you don't like to do?
Well, let's just say I consider myself a Renaissance woman. I know a little of a lot of everything, and I can do it. I just don't want to do it all. So I'm very good in accounting. That's what my background in college was. But I can't stand it.
So you delegate. You prefer to delegate.
Yes. Yes.
I understand.
So my mom just kind of did all the fun things I didn't like. That she's also very good at.
All right, so you maintained the integrity of the line, right? So you made sure that, yes, you took over the business, but so what did the integrity of the line meant and still means to you in practical terms?
Well, I think just from the standpoint that Barbara was light years ahead in her ingredients that she used. I don't know what you know about skincare, but like we'll now,
talk about it a little bit.
The buzzwords are like hyaluronic acid and, stem cells and all those things. Well, Barbara has had hyaluronic acid in her products for the last 30 or so years now. So that was like so beyond.
What I know about that for the listeners, I think, if I can explain it in my own simple words, is it's a substance that we produce naturally, but with aging, that production is reduced biologically or internally.
You're very good.
But what it does, it binds more water, and so hence you have a much more supple and hydrated skin. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah. Which is why we don't use water in our product. And one, because we're mostly made up of water.
Yes.
So when you're using water-based products, and granted there are specific ingredients that help to penetrate the dermis, but when it is primarily water-based, it sits on the skin. So with an aloe-based product line, and then the additives that help to penetrate the dermis, we're going much deeper. And for instance, when you don't use a product, within a day, like you can just see it. Ours, you could go a few days if you wanted to and not see that crinkling of the skin and all that. So the integrity of this line is, to me, beyond anything else that's out there. So it's been.
So
really,
let's talk about aloe-based. So aloe vera, right?
Right.
My mom, Clara, has always kept aloe plants in her garden.
Yes.
In our little town of Pestum in Salerno, near the Amalfi Coast. But so, what does cold pressed aloe actually do differently on the skin?
Well, first and foremost, aloe is healing. So whatever is going on the skin, it is going to benefit whatever is happening.
Yes.
So that, first and foremost, is the key with aloe and why we use it. We have one product that is water-based, but that's because it's specifically designed to seal in moisture and sit on the skin. So that is its primary purpose. So for a super dry person, you would also add that into it. But aloe in and of itself is so moisturizing. And for us, because not everything that we use is pressed, we use the leaf extract juice, which is what gives you that creaminess and moisture.
For those who are not familiar with lotions and oils and creams, so tell me just like the basic difference between applying, say, a coconut oil versus an aloe-based cream on the skin.
Well, coconut oil is very good, but it's not good for everybody. Because if you are an acne-prone person, coconut oil is going to exacerbate your acne. So you have to be really careful of the oils that you're using. For us, in our entire product line, there is nothing that is going to make anybody break out. Even if they are acne-prone. Like, we don't use anything that's going to exacerbate that. And what is tricky in the world of skincare that I learned from Barbara is that even though something may say non-comedogenic, it still might have oils in it that are going to cause.
What's it called? You just say
it's non-comedogenic.
Comedogenic. Never heard this word before.
That means it's not supposed to cause acne.
Oh, okay.
But there are things that people don't know as far as ingredients that still are in there that could cause acne.
In fact, my next question is, how do you respond to misinformation or fear-based skincare marketing? There's so many products out there. It's almost overwhelming. You go to Whole Foods, you go to Trader Joe's, you go to Walmart. Any place you go around the corner is going to try to push a certain product. So how do you stick out? And do you do like a thorough intake for every person that comes to you, or they have something they can fill out online so you can do the best recommendations?
Yes and yes. So we do have a quiz on our website for somebody who's just arriving there for the first time that wants just some general information, what products are best for them. Then we do have a consulting option where they would sit down with me. And our existing clients know, unlike so many companies, you can call and somebody's going to answer the phone. They can email me directly for product questions. We have our shipping department, so we really do want to be that company where someone can talk to someone if they need to. And with our client base in general, like, we have multi-generations of clients. We have mothers, daughters, and granddaughters now using, or grandsons. And so it's been really fun to see what our company does for people. And I would say we are much more referral driven. Than just spending those endless dollar amounts on marketing.
I'd love to get some recommendations on massage therapy creams and oils and lotions, which I use on a daily basis. But let's see, what does luxury means to you when it comes to skincare?
To me, luxury when it comes to skincare is how it makes you feel when you put it on.
So ultimately, you're after a feeling, correct?
For me personally, I think so. The one thing with skincare and women, they're looking at it's perfume, packaging, and pricing is what women are looking at when they're buying.
So they're looking to perfume, so smell good.
Yes. Yes.
And then packaging has to be nice and flashy enough to attract their eyeballs.
Exactly. And I think for our clients, we've built a product that I don't think they care if it came to them in a wooden box, as long as they got their product.
That's cool. You speak about skincare as a ritual, not just routine. What's the difference between a ritual and a routine?
Well, I think a routine is just something that you get in the habit of doing. For me, I think I've kind of taken it a little bit further than Barbara, because to me, skincare is really the result of what you're putting in your body.
Yes.
So it becomes much more of a ritual. It's like, what are you eating? What are you drinking? What is going on that is also helping to make your outside shine?
Nice.
So
So
we
it's
really,
a holistic approach.
it really is. We really focus much more on that aspect of things, because we specialize, not that we don't treat everybody, but we're very specific in acne, rosacea, psoriasis, eczema, all of those things, and acne. So those are very specific kinds of conditions. So you need to be a little bit more proactive in what you're doing inside your belly,
Yes.
to get the best result on your
course.
face.
Absolutely, absolutely. It starts with nutrition. It starts with food, for sure.
Yes.
So, as you know, I'm a yoga instructor. My business is called Yogaphora for a reason.
Yes.
And when I teach classes, I often tell my students and remind myself as well that 1 hour of yoga, in that 1 hour, during that 1 hour, nobody can ever love you more than you love yourself. It's an act of self-love. Through the form of movement therapy. We trust the movement, we trust the flow, but most importantly, we found 1 hour to take care of ourselves. So, do you see skincare also as a doorway into deeper self-relationship?
Absolutely.
Tell me about it.
Well, I think, it's kind of like my radio show. It's mind, body, and spirit. It's like, if you're not addressing the whole aspect of the body, you're missing out on pieces. You can't just take care of the face and not take care of the rest of it. So I believe that it all goes hand in hand, and all are equally important.
Yes.
In your face and your body being its best.
Of course. So addressing any ailment or any issue systemically rather than just reactively, right?
Correct.
Okay. Let's see. This is interesting because in my Yogaphora Conversations, I always address also the emotional side. Humans are emotionals by definition. We're like roller coasters, and emotions are fluctuating both for men and women.
Because we have hormones that are fluctuating.
Yes, yes. So, as you know, as a massage therapist, I obviously cannot help but to notice that we tend to store and bottle up emotions within certain parts of the body, whether it's the hips or the shoulders or the neck or the pecs, anywhere. But there's the usual suspects that I can recognize with my experience working on over 30,000 bodies. But in your case, you're a skin expert. How does stress, grief, or trauma show up on the skin?
Well, grief in and of itself is going to affect your routines, your rituals. You might not be doing your face every day. Just stress on the face. You've got your stress lines. A lot of people wear their emotions on their face. So it doesn't matter if you're doing your skincare. It's not going to take that aspect away, which is why we have practitioners like yourself that is going to help with those things.
Right. Do you know that a person who has got a good night's sleep, for example, and wakes up in the morning has a completely different face than somebody who didn't, right?
Yes.
Had a fragmented sleep, or what's going on?
Didn't sleep at
all, because the mind is always wandering around, and that sort of how do you say, returning to the past, right? Sometimes grief lives in the past.
Correct.
And fear sometimes lives in the future because it's the anticipation of something that hasn't happened yet. So it's like paying interest on a debt you don't yet have. So I think that working on the emotional end of things is very, very important for a broader healthcare assessment.
Yes.
Let's see. Okay, so we work for many clients, and you've seen one-on-one so many people. So Just like myself, my work is hands-on by definition. I cannot do massage online, right?
Right.
So what role does presence play in healing the skin, even at a surface level, like being one-on-one energetically and physically with your clients?
Well, I think just the fact that if they have a question, they can reach me. They can call me. Some of them, some of my longer clients can text me, because things happen. And especially for women, because we are ever-changing creatures, just from a hormonal standpoint. So like different age brackets bring on different challenges. And I think it's important, especially in the world of skincare, that you can have a conversation with somebody. It is very important for me to be present for my clients. I think they appreciate having that option and being able to talk to somebody.
I often say that people buy people before they buy their products or services. People are interested in the energetical exchange that is given we give to each other as we go by and mirror each other in the transactional process that is, exchanging goods or services, right?
Yes.
So there is definitely an energetical exchange when you have a client that you see in person. Doesn't make a difference to you. How have you acquired clients over time just by having one-on-one in-person exchanges?
I would say it's a decent amount. Just, like yourself, we go to different networking groups and things of that nature. I think, especially for skincare, I think it's so personalized.
Yes.
People want to touch, feel, see, all those things. So I think that's really important in our business, that they have that option.
And I'm so happy that I found you as a potential collaborator. Now, let's talk about business ownership and sustainability from a business standpoint. So what have been the hardest seasons of business ownership for you?
COVID.
COVID, of course. Yeah.
I mean, that changed the landscape of so much. Just for me, navigating that time from being able to get product and containers. I mean, containers, like my primary vendor that I used, was having 6 to 9 month leeway time before they were getting bottles that we needed. It was like diversifying. Like you just had to constantly be on your toes. And, my primary manufacturer, it was like, since they were non-essential, they had given up their FDA licensing, they were closed for 6 months. And then they came back at half mast. So my turnaround time to get product was closer to 6 months versus, 7 to 9 weeks. So it just, it's like when you get into business, you have to constantly be thinking on your toes. Yeah. Because it's always changing. Right. And you have to really step outside the box.
Of course. And what I try to do in my own personal day-to-day business is to listen to my intuition, listen to guidance, finding stillness first and then asking for answers, starting with the heart. So how do you make decisions, heart-based decisions, when numbers, because of course a business is made of numbers. If you have no transactions, you have no business. So how do you make decisions when the numbers on the spreadsheets and the intuition that you have in your heart don't immediately align?
This is when you can't have any fear. Your certainty has to be stronger than your fear.
Yeah. Yes.
Because, and even if you have to lose it all, it just might need to be rebuilt. And what isn't working needs to not be anymore. So I think what it's taught me, because I've had some major issues I was unaware of when I took over the business from the manufacturing side of things. So it has been a constant battle as of late, but I feel in this moment that it's all going to be okay, no matter what.
Yeah.
Like if I have to close, I have to close. If I don't, I don't. Like there's just being able to let go.
You have to trust the inner knowing that there will always be a demand for your service or product.
Yes.
You're never going to run out of people to serve.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
So the system stays there.
Yes.
The system remains in here and in here first. And then whatever it's outside, whether it's your license, whether it's your bank account, but you got the system down, right?
Yes.
That's your power base.
Yes.
Is that how you feel?
Yes. And I think of this one gentleman that I interviewed on my business show. We were talking about what is your bottom dollar that you have to have in your bank. And he said $1. He's like, if I have $1, I have something and I can flip it around.
Oh, that's how I started my LLC with $100. Yeah.
Yeah. But like there just has to be this fearlessness.
Yes.
Even within the fear that it's all going to be okay.
Yes.
Like
love it.
You have to be there.
I feel it. I've been there, and I'm with you totally, 100%. I'm so glad.
And on the flip side of that, it's, just even from doing my business show for as long as we have, it's also knowing that there is enough business for all of us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So don't think somebody else is your competition.
Wonderfully said.
So,
one of my mottos that I try to embody, not just theoretically, but physically, is that cooperation is the new competition. What's the point of competing once you establish that we all have the same needs? We all came from one source. We all go back to the same source. Mm-hmm. We all have 100 years at best to live, hopefully in the healthiest way possible.
Right.
We're all walking the same earth. And by the way, we live in America where abundance is everywhere. You cannot even try to starve to death. They will force feed you.
Right.
Right. You have more choices available to you at the click of a fingertip or at the supermarket that are overwhelming sometimes. So there is a lot to be grateful for. One of the techniques that we adopt in yoga, of course, is the contemplation of impermanence. Right. And number 2 is going over the list of gratitudes, right? Our health, our grace, our freedoms, and our wealth as well. Inner wealth. So I was going to say, has your understanding of success changed over time? What used to be the definition of success for you, say 30, 40 years ago and up until now?
Well, I think being that my starts were not from a mean-driven family. I worked for everything that I had. I think at that younger age, it was like, you want to make the most money you can to live the best life that you can. I think now it's much more about having a fulfilling life versus just the monetary. Because money is, and this is just my own thoughts and of learning in my own spiritual work that I've done, it is a tool for management of your life.
Yeah.
It is not, it's not going in the grave with you.
Of course.
So you should enjoy it.
Yes.
While you're here.
Yes.
And,
yes.
And I look at it, there are some of us that manage better than others.
Yes.
And that's okay.
That's okay.
You know?
Money has always been a universal medium of exchange to benchmark perceived value.
Right.
Right. We're value exchanging machines, essentially, with whatever product or service you can offer. Even it's the most humble, the most simple service you can do. But yeah, so that's a common shift that I've seen since when I also became a business owner, is stepping away from chasing the dollar itself. It is the feeling associated with the satisfaction of acquiring a new client, to being able to step up the game and get more educated about how to be a better servant.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. I'm glad we are aligned in that too.
Yes.
But yes, I can also see the pattern in most in this capitalist society, which is all about, the individual the individual tends to associate their self-worth with their net worth.
Correct.
So that's an emotionally mature shift that occurs past a certain age, because I was also money driven myself too, but not just money driven. I was in my 20s, I was going not for the functional yoga body, I was going for the beach body and the six pack and seeking approval.
Because that was very important back then.
Exactly. So thank you for sharing that. So let's talk about your radio now.
Okay.
Because, now it's very actually super cool that I get to be the host and she's the guest.
I know, it is kind of fun being on this side because I don't have to think about anything. I just get to answer.
Yes, wonderful. And I am a super amateur. I just started this channel. My channel is very young. So tell me, what called you into radio?
Well, it's kind of a funny story. So I, at the time that I got into radio, with this women's networking group that I'm part of, connecting and promoting women, we were having these sponsors that were supposed to be here this particular week of our meeting. And I put together the PowerPoint and the agenda and everything. And I'm like reading these bios of these gentlemen. I had just taken over Sage, it was like kind of the start of 2020. No, we had just come out of 2020. So it was early part of 2021, and we were just getting back to doing our meetings in person. And I'm reading these gentlemen's bios, and I'm like, God, I need them. Because when you're a business owner, you're so stuck in the minutia, you can't always get that bird's eye view to see what direction you need to go. And I was like, oh, these guys are perfect. So the woman in my networking group that brought them to us to share about themselves, I called her. I was like, I think I need to sit down and talk to Dr. Stan and see if he can help me. And she's like, sure. So I have this conversation with Dr. Stan, and his partner, was a professor at Logan, and not Logan. Was it Logan? Yes.
Logan University.
Yes, yes, was Logan. And so we set up a meeting. It was the weekend of Memorial Weekend, that Friday, in 21. And we had a conversation earlier in the week, and he's like, well, have you thought about radio? And I was like, well, no. I said, I'm really looking for strategic planning and really getting Sage on foot. And he's like, no. He's like, you need to do radio. I said, well, we thought about doing podcasting because I had, 2 other women in my office, and we were really thinking about health and wellness. And I met with him that Friday of Memorial Weekend, and he had all these papers and said, this is why you need to do radio. And he assumed I was going to do it about skincare. But after reading everything he gave me and thinking, I was like, this is a huge avenue. And that's how Sage Advice with Melissa came to be. I was thinking if I wanted something that was going to have long-term, value and repetitive conversations, it had to be something that was broad enough. I would never run out of content.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
I was like, it's going to be Sage Advice with Melissa. It's going to be about mind, body, and spirit.
That's awesome.
And this is why. And he's like, this is incredible. And
that's a great idea.
So July 8th of 2021, I was on the air with my first show.
Nice. Did it take something of you in order to transcend the fear that you were not enough, or the fear of public speaking, for example?
Well, I never had trouble speaking.
You can tell.
and I was like, ooh, I get to talk, and I get to talk to all kinds of people.
Yes.
I was like,
yes.
This is perfect.
Yes.
So,
Wonderful.
so yes. Yeah.
Interesting. And I did the same thing. I came up with the same concept because, in fact, my Yogaphora Conversation, even though my primary business is massage, but my guests are all into the wellness field and spirituality.
Yeah.
I've seen a hypnotherapist, health coaches, personal trainers, yoga instructors. So we can really span into a much wider spectrum of conversations and which benefit everybody. And the other thing that has become apparent to me clearly is that everybody loves to talk about themselves, right? Who wouldn't, right?
Right.
So you give them an opportunity, and of course, it's a wonderful way to connect at a deeper level than just surface level.
Yes.
So let's see, how is hosting different from being a guest?
Well, I mean, hosting, you're putting the whole show together, unless you're big enough and you have producers that are doing all that. So for me and like yourself, we're the host and the producer, which I think also is kind of fun because I think as you get more seasoned in your craft and doing it, it becomes kind of like second nature. And it's kind of fun to learn about all these different people and put these amazing shows together. So it's just such a learning experience.
It is. And you learn a lot about resilience, and you also learn more about, being humble, and people appreciate authenticity. People get to know you for the authentic person that you show up.
Yes.
Because we all have a built-in bullshit detector, right?
Yes. Yes.
Or sense of intuition. But in fact, my next question was talking about authenticity. Do you see radio as a service, a strategy, or both?
Both.
Both.
I think it can be multiple different things depending on what avenue you're on. Like Sage Advice with Melissa is completely different than our business show, It's Your Business. They're vastly different genres.
Yes.
So, for me, I get to play in both worlds because I love business. And, Dr. Stan, who got me into this, his business partner, Jim, had to step away. So that's how I ended up co-hosting It's Your Business. And then I say both of my business parents have now passed away. Barbara was my skincare and Dr. Stan was my radio parent. And, I get to carry on both of their legacies. So it's like such an honor to have been entrusted with all that and, to let these things live on.
Yes, it gives a greater sense of purpose.
Yes.
And a motivator, when you wake up in the morning, you are there to contribute to something greater than just yourself.
Yes.
I feel that.
Yes.
So now I'm always very excited to meet local St. Louis people, right? Because I'm moved here only in less than 4 years ago. I moved from Fort Collins, Colorado. So let's talk about life in St. Louis and a little bit about the Hill, because I know your business was based out of the Hill, the Italian American, the Hill. So number one, what does St. Louis mean to you?
I think it really kind of is what the arch stands for. It is the gateway. Just even when you're looking at old movies, new movies, like everything, Missouri is in every movie almost that you see.
Yes.
We're kind of like, we're like the middle part of the country, and our city has so much to offer. Like there's so much culture here.
Yes.
And I really do feel like it is kind of the melting pot almost of the U.S.
Right. But from a business standpoint, building a business, what are some of the unique challenges of building businesses here? And let me explain. So since when I moved, I noticed right away that St. Louis, even if it's considered one city, it is comprised or made out of dozens of micro realities, right? So we have the enclave, the Hill, for example. It's like a little internal village. And then you have the struggling North City, you have the South City, you have old money in Ladue and Clayton, and then you have the St. Louis County. So tell me about somebody who was an entrepreneur and wants to establish a business here. What were the challenges for you?
I would say you have to think of what they say about Missouri. We're the show me state. And people here, just even when I've been in sales positions, before really being out on my own, it's a hard nut to crack here. It really is.
It's hard to break in.
And even if you've been here forever, it's really an interesting place. Like we're progressive, but we're not in certain ways. And just kind of like the Hill, it's very old world.
Yeah.
And
even myself, I'm too Italian for the Italian Americans.
Probably, yes.
But I'm slowly getting into, I'm offering classes right there at the Hill Neighborhood Center. Slowly they recognize my value and they're promoting me on their Facebook page.
But you can even see in the Hill, which is like, one of the oldest neighborhoods, how much it has shifted.
Yes.
I mean, just even the 7 years that I was on the Hill with my office, the changes
tell me about that.
that have taken place. I mean, just with, the new buildings that are going up, the apartments that are being built now down on the Hill look like the apartment, that they're building out in Clayton. Like it's the same work, live kind of space. It's like,
well, it has become more of a luxury brand, I have to say. In all honesty, they have bumped up the prices a little too high, in my opinion. But again, who am I to judge what's going on economically? As long as we can cooperate and live peacefully with one another. But so for you were in the Hill, right? You were right above Carnival Restaurant.
Yes.
So why did the Hill feel like the right home base at the time?
Well, I have to tell you. So I kind of was looking in different areas. So, but kind of in that central corridor there, either like West End area, little South City, like kind of where we are, because I wanted to be close to where my clients are, that it was really kind of a 20-25 minute drive for everybody, because we have clients right across in Illinois, we've got clients that are out west, clients that are central. So for those clients that wanted to come and see what we were doing in our space, I wanted to be somewhere local. I wanted to be off a highway. We were right near two major highways. So it just felt really good. And when I walked into the space we ended up in, like I knew, like as soon as I walked in there, and it had our color sage in one of the rooms. Now, granted, I painted over that, but like it just felt great. And then when I took my mom down to see it, and she's like, Dad and I bought our first refrigerator up on the third floor, because it was Fair Mercantile Furniture is what that whole building was.
Right.
So I was like, this is my place. Like, and it just felt homey.
It just felt, okay. So you definitely listen to your inner feelings. That's
Always.
great. Always. 100%. So when I moved to St. Louis 4 years ago, I came from Fort Collins, which has its own, big town with a small village vibe kind of feel. I felt the same way. So I was looking for communities to have a sense of belonging as an outsider. So immediately I connect with the musicians, with the yoga communities, right? And the Hill, birds of feather flock together, as they say. So my question to you is, what does community look like when it's done well? And if you do have a community, where do you gravitate toward?
Well, I would say from myself, I think community is, the supporting of everybody within that community, and also venturing out to share with others. Because I think, in my mind, like for me, I know people say it, like I see humans.
Yes.
Like I don't judge based on where you come from, what you have, what you don't have. Like I literally just see and feel the human. And I feel like community should be representative of all people,
Yeah.
because it takes all people.
We share the same biology, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm Italian, but I have the same teeth as you. I mean, not the same, but I mean, we share the same biology, like I said. So, in fact, let's talk about being inclusive and accepting and tolerant of diversity, which is a big thing, right? So, St. Louis is definitely more diverse than Fort Collins. Fort Collins is suspiciously white and suspiciously expensive.
Yes.
So, let's talk about your marriage, a little bit of the difference, and your so you're your husband. So, you and your husband Anthony.
Yes.
Ciao, Anthony, Antonio. So you come from different racial backgrounds. And so how has that shaped your worldview, and how has your family accepted that, if there was such a thing as having to convince or persuade or being accepted?
Well, I think for my family, I think the hardest part, which is I think what most parents think about, they're always worried what somebody else is going to think.
Yes.
And how they're going to treat their child.
Yes.
I would say that was the biggest hurdle to overcome, but because I've always operated in the space in which I have, like, I literally just see the human. Like, I don't see those outwardly differences, because it's not in my vision to see that.
Wonderful.
You know, so I think I kind of pushed the balance and buttons for my family from a very young age, you know, because I just liked people.
Right.
And I didn't
I admire your higher level of consciousness.
Yeah, I didn't focus on all that. And I think the prime example, so, and because I am who I am and how I operate, for my 30th birthday, I threw my own party. I didn't want a surprise. I wanted it my way. And a family friend's daughter called my mom and asked, can I bring a friend? And my mom's like, well, of course. And she goes, well, she's Black. Is it going to be a problem? And my mom's like, have you met Missy? And she goes, we're going to have the United Nations. So, you know, it's like I have everybody of everything, you know, it's like there is.
What about for the other way around? And what I mean by that is, how are you accepted within the African American community as you married?
I think most people thought I was mixed.
Oh, really?
Because of the curly hair.
Oh, okay.
And at the time I met Anthony.
Oh, you are 100% white to me.
Well, yes, but in the summer I get very dark.
Okay.
So there's some confusion.
Yes, I understand.
So yeah, a lot of people think I am
being judgmental, but not in a bad way.
Right.
Being judgmental is part of being human.
Correct.
I think it would be naive to think that we do not judge each other.
Right.
You know, it's part of our survival. Our survival was possible because we could perceive potential threats.
Correct.
And this is why we developed our biases and fears around diversity. But hopefully now we are in 2026. We have gone past all of those horrible wars and discrimination and persecution that went on, even with the Italians just about 100 years ago. Right? And we live in a time in the human history where information is freely and widely available online without having to pay for it. You don't have to go to the priest of your village to understand what oneness and what unconditional love is. So that's the beauty of living in this time in human history, which is unprecedented.
Yes.
I'll tell you a funny story. Back in the 50s and 60s, for the Italian immigrants that immigrated to places like Australia, Venezuela, in order to find a woman or a man from your own country, you would have to go to the priest of your village and take one of those Polaroid pictures, and the priest will be the matchmaker for you.
Yeah.
And then you would have a mail-in wife or mail-in husband. What do you call it? Mail order?
Yes.
Yeah. Nowadays you have, Facebook dating. You can swipe left and right. It's a different world we live in. Yeah. But so tell me more in depth, what have you learned about listening across differences? I mean, were there some intercultural differences or just interracial differences that, because how long have you been married?
We are coming up on 22 years.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So
years.
tell me about what's the secret sauce to keep it going?
Patience. Patience and forgiveness
Yes.
and tolerance. I mean, because the buttons get pushed and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you find it as important to have your own spaces to recharge?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you have to have your own things as well as your combined things, because you can't give up yourself and then make the marriage like the whole thing, because you need space. There has to be. That's at least for us. I mean, it works well for us.
I've had several women friends that have told me, oh, my mom and my grandma always told me, never be dependent on a man, never become financial dependent, because, as you know, the finances determine most of the decision-making authority within the ecosystem of a family. So was that something that was real for you? Like you kept a good, financial thermometer, which contributed to the harmony, to the harmonious environment of your household?
I think we've both shared moments at times where one was carrying more or the other was. We're both Virgos, so we're very strong personalities anyway. So we've had to definitely learn to work together to not, want to stomp on each other.
Great.
So yeah.
Let's see.
But yes, I was taught to be independent.
Yes.
Well, and just, I think whether you're male or female, because, in these times, there's a lot of females that are carrying the family. Dad's kind of more the stay-at-home parents. And I think what we don't think about is that death is imminent for all of us. And that if one or the other is gone, how does that look? So it doesn't matter if it's a 2-income household, a single income household. It's like, how does it move forward if one is gone? So I think that was kind of how I was taught. Like, you have to be able to maintain if something happens to one or both of you. It's like...
I know the life insurance is big in America.
I mean, yes, and it's important, but it's still not everything.
Yes, and
because
it's not just the monetary
you could
value.
be young, and spouse is gone, and you have to move on.
Yes.
So,
how do faith and values support your marriage?
Well, as Anthony always teases me, because he had a very strict religious upbringing, he goes, I'm praying to Jesus on the golf course. I said, you do whatever makes you happy. So, and for me, I've gotten much more spiritually driven in my practices. I am now a student of Kabbalah, and it keeps me grounded. It's taught me that, I have responsibility and control only of my own actions and reactions, and that the stuff around me is what is there to guide me to be my best version of myself. And I just...
So you guys attend to different religious congregations?
We never had to share the holidays, because when the holidays come, you have to go back and forth to all the families. We never had to share, because we had the Jewish holidays, and then we had all the Christian holidays, so it was never a problem.
That's very different from the way that I grew up. It's, one of the two parties has to give in. That's the way that I grew up with. My mom used to be the one that has to give in and sacrifice whatever my dad was deciding, or sometimes vice versa, but definitely same church, same house. So I can see the difference in a way. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about your faith and inner life. This is something that I really thoroughly enjoy, because I'm also, an avid student myself. That's part of my daily studies. And I go to Center for Spiritual Living in Creve Coeur sometimes, and some other times I go to the First Unitarian Church. So I do love unity. I do love God as oneness.
I know people that go there. Yeah.
How would you describe your relationship with faith today?
Like I said, I am more spiritually driven in how I show up. I can't say I am observing one specific religion. I still am always curious about what others are doing in their own practices. I just, my brother's got this philosophy. He doesn't really, he does the Jewish traditions more so for my mother's sake. But he's like, most people can't follow the 10 Commandments, which have no religious connotation of any kind. He goes, and that's my key. He's like, I'm doing those. So it's kind of like, I just feel it's very important to be the best version of yourself, to treat others the way you wish to be treated. And I don't think that is specific to any one religion. I don't think it is anyone's job to judge anybody ever. And not that we don't have judgments, but it's the way in which those judgments affect you and others. Like, is it in the higher good of all? And
what is that Jewish traditional dinner that you...
Shabbat dinner.
You have the parsley. You dip the parsley in
water. So that is Yom Kippur, not Yom Kippur. That is Passover.
The Passover meal.
The Seder plate.
Yes. There's a funny Italian American comedian, Sebastian Maniscalco. He goes on the stage and talks about, let the Italians cater for the Passover, because he was hungry. I need to have bread. Give me some meatballs in my mouth. And then we have to read for 2 hours. 2 hours. I'm starving.
It's true. It's very true.
All right. So when you're discerning something important, let's say you are, on a day-to-day, you need guidance, you stay in stillness, you meditate, you pray, right? What do you notice happening in the body? Like when you say you felt that the location on the hill was the right for you, right? So what does a clear yes or no feel for you physically when you come from your heart?
Well, I'm very automatic. Like, I'm a very yes/no person. Some things I need to take a moment to think about, but if it feels right or feels wrong, like, I'm an automatic yes or no. Yeah.
So you trust your vibes.
Yes. Much more so probably than I ever did, because I'm just very aware now. I feel like all of us have all these gifts of awareness and intuition. It's just that some of us are more attuned and chimed into them.
Has your heart ever led you into the wrong place? Like you were not certain and then you got in trouble for that?
Absolutely. I mean, wrong decisions are made, but is there anything that's wrong? Because anything good or bad is always good.
Yes, there's always a lesson.
Exactly.
An earth school lesson.
And if it wasn't meant to happen, I wouldn't have gone that way.
Yeah.
And sometimes we're curious and we think it's going to be good, and it isn't.
Now I want to talk about something that is kind of important to me because I'm a man.
Yeah.
There's nothing I can do about it. And so in the marketplace and even in our circles, sometimes you see a little bit of dichotomy or dividedness. There are circles just for women or just for men, and there's only few places that allow the co-ed existence of both. So first, let's talk about leadership. So what does leadership mean to you now?
I would say leadership should be fully encompassing and including, because that is a good leader, because you want to work as a solid team moving forward.
Yes.
Not that it's always that way, but in my mind, that's how I feel like it should be.
Yeah, I feel leadership when I go to a yoga class, for example. You know, the yoga teacher is the leader. The yoga teacher is the person that resonates and vibrates at a higher frequency than the others. We are the followers, so the leader has a lot of responsibility. Similar when you go to your church. You know, you endow another human being to project a higher power, a higher frequency. Let's see now. What does feminine wisdom bring into business spaces? You just mentioned you have created spaces where it's just women, right? Women circles. Tell me about it.
I operate in many circles.
Okay.
But I think everything has a place and time. You know, I think women today are really finding their power, their passion, their support in more women-driven groups. I think equally, just, you know, with some of the interviewing I've done on my Mind, Body, and Spirit show, men are also shifting, because I think men, more evolved, aware, attuned men are seeing that it is okay to be compassionate and kind and, you know, understanding and supporting in a way in which, you know, the programs don't deem as right, you know?
Yeah, no, I can see that for sure. Well, I can still see, for example, in yoga, it's undeniably a female-dominated industry. It's
that's because there's more of us anyway. Sorry, just saying, there's more of us girly girls.
But there is a fundamental preference. For example, even in massage therapy, you know, we are equally licensed, equally trained, equally professional. But there is a tendency to default to female practitioners for comfort reasons, for safety reasons, because we women are perceived as more nurturing, more compassionate, and just more safe physically in general, right? So that they don't feel that there is any possibility of being assaulted, either emotionally or physically, right? So do you feel that's true?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think in certain situations, I think depending on a person's, you know, upbringing, experiences, you know, even being married to somebody, like, absolutely not, you know, there's so many things that go into it. And so, yes, definitely, it still affects things.
Yeah, you keep hearing around. I mean, I don't really watch the news. You know, that's how I stay mentally sane, and I kind of, how do you say, not reject, but repel negativity in my life, by staying away from the news, what the media wants to sell us. But definitely, I can sense. I'm a sensitive human being, and I can sense when there is situations of domestic violence, the situations that are, you know, scary, and it's good to have their own boundaries to maintain good boundaries. So let's talk about in some reflections about your practices. You know, what practices into your day-to-day help you stay grounded? Just like, for example, I just told you I don't watch the news. What are the things that keep you grounded?
Audibles. I listen to books all day long. A lot of them about, you know, I don't want to say self-help, but very much in that spiritual space. I listen to a lot of business books.
What are your favorites?
I'm a big fan of John Maxwell. I love Jen Sincero.
What's a title by John Maxwell that you would recommend?
Oh my God. Yes, so many. I'm trying to think. Which one did I just finish reading again? It's the, oh my God, I'm totally blanking now. I can't remember off the top of my head. But Jen Sincero, she's probably one of my...
If your microphone is still on, so excuse me, can you check that? Yes, okay. Sorry, go ahead.
Jen Sincero is How to Be a Badass at Making Money, Mastering the Mindset of Wealth, which is beyond the wealth. It's all spiritually driven. I don't know why I'm blanking on John Maxwell, because I love him. I wasn't thinking, but I did just start a new one called The Soul Instinct. That one has been kind of mind-blowing for me right now.
Tell me how do you recover when you're depleted?
I breathe. And I have my own green room. My husband calls it the green room, but my centering room.
Nice. I think everybody should have one.
Exactly.
For me, it's my yoga studio, but it's everybody's different.
Yeah, it's kind of got green colors in there, so I think that's why he calls it the green room. He's like, but it feels so good. It's like, of course it does. Yeah.
I love it. I think zoning out from the busyness of what's out there and finding stillness is available to all of us.
Right.
You don't have to have a space. You can just go out in nature. Right. What does a good day look like now for you?
Well, I have to say, I don't normally schedule things early in the morning. I like taking my time. I like loving on my dog because she just soothes my soul.
Sweet.
So we spend time in the morning. I sometimes do meditation or journaling in the morning. I meditate every night when I get into bed because I love the night hours.
Yes.
It is a time to scan and
and go into
send healing to the parts of my body that need it. I'm a Reiki master, so
you are. Okay.
So I do Reiki. Just kind of. I'm very in the flow of my day, and I am, like we talked a little bit before we did the interview, not being attached to time because time is always perfect no matter what. And
time is a human construct.
Yes.
Nowhere in nature is being kept track of. No. You ask an eagle, you ask any animal, what time is it and how much that costs. Nothing keeps track of it. It's just a functional timing is useful to catch a train on time or to arrive on time to your meetings or appointments.
Right.
It's great. We have the executive function of our brain, the prefrontal cortex, that allows for us to plan ahead. Yes. And Americans are big planners, I have to say, compared to our much slower paced lifestyle that we have in Italy.
Yes.
And if you ever travel to Italy, I'd be happy to give you any tips and tricks about that. But let's see, how do you listen for what's next? Do you, speaking of making plans, business plans, life plans for the future, how do you listen for what's next?
I don't know. I just wait for things to show up. And I think because of how I think now, it's asking for what is needed at that time with business, really, asking the creator to show me where do I need to go now? What do I need to do now? Just being really aware of those things. And
in the spiritual / in the Zen world, it's the power of now has been a lot talked about. Many teachers say the same thing in just a slightly different way. But in yoga, we call it riding the crest of the wave. So breathing is the bridge between the mind and the body, and allows you to experience life, the only reality of life, which is what we're experiencing, you and I, right now. So there's a lot of power in that. I totally feel it. Now, wisdom for others. What do you wish you had known 20 years ago?
To breathe. Because like you said, here in America, it's fast paced. It's like do more, be more. I think breathing, it's like you really do have to stop and smell the flowers. And
that is what I offer in my practice. I offer nervous system regulation designed to not only take care of your knots, your tight muscles and soft tissues, but about being present in the moment and breathe, and then connecting attention and intention so that the tissues can release much easier, and then you have a much better session.
Yes.
So let's see, how can entrepreneurs, being in this fast-driven, marketplace where everybody's chasing the next rabbit of fulfillment on a track of achievement, how can entrepreneurs protect their nervous systems?
Well, first and foremost, I would learn meditation. because it's powerful. It gives you clarity. It gives you time to really focus. In my mind, at least, with the breathing that I do, and to relax. I mean, you have to relax your nervous system, because if you are functioning at a really high amped up level, you miss things. You miss those nuances that might be beneficial for your business, for yourself. And you want to be present.
Can I ask you about your tribal power? We are humans, and we're social creatures. We're designed we're designed to we have survived through communities, right?
Yes.
And so, who's your tribe?
Who's my tribe? I have multiple tribes.
Tell me about it.
So, because of how I operate, like, I have different circles of people. So, like, I have all my wellness babes and guys, that's one circle. I have more my business driven circles. And then I have, my friends of past that are still very present in my life.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah.
I think that connections wrap you like a blanket, feel the warmth, and you can connect to at any time, right?
Yes. And again, for me, I am, like you said, I am very social. I love the human experience. I love being with other energy, because that does kind of fill me up.
Yeah.
So
great. Tell me what excites you about the future of Sage Skincare.
Resolving my manufacturing issues. I think I'm there. I think I'm very close to it. I mean, like we were saying earlier in the segment, business is, it can be a crapshoot at time, and like I said, there were things that I was unaware of that Barbara was unaware of. So, like, this manufacturing piece has been really kind of problematic for me for the last few years, but I think I'm to a point now where I've resolved those issues. So it's like I can start focusing now on getting the product that I need and start really moving forward with marketing plans and things of that nature.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Who is Sage Skincare really for? What's your audience or primary audience?
I would say primary is probably that late 20s up to about 60 is our primary focus. And like I said, we're specialized. So we are very designed for those that are having those specific skin issues, so, that's also another market, but our product is almost all of them, because certain ones are for just adult people, safe enough for babies. Like, we have little babies that have eczema issues, and we have product that's going to help with that. So we are designed. There is no perfect client for skincare. We just need people with skin.
Wonderfully said. Yes, and we do have one, as long as you're human. Yes.
Right.
Absolutely. And
if I may say, it's the largest organ, and you need to take care of it.
I agree. Let's see. What does legacy mean to you now? How do you want your work to be remembered?
That I did my best always, to the best of my ability, for my clients, for my family, for the people that are in my circle and that I love. I
poured it on.
I want to be somebody remembered for being kind and caring and sharing. Yeah.
Let me give you some rapid soul questions.
Okay.
Do you prefer silence or music?
Say again?
Silence or music? When you are in your workflow.
Ooh, music, for sure.
So you put on, what's your favorite? Or a book. What music do you put on to energize yourself?
Oh my God, I just love music. So it kind of depends on my mood. It could be R&B. It could be a little metal, depending on what's going on. But I would say I probably stay more in that R&B jazz kind of
Good.
space.
Yeah. Same here. I like to, to energize. Music is vibration, right?
Yes,
so
disco.
Disco, yeah, make it into a party. Yes, that's what it takes sometimes to kind of spark the day, start the day. Let's see. Do you prefer to live in the city or you prefer to go on a retreat?
Ooh, city.
City. What does the city feel like for you? What does it mean to you?
It feels homey.
It feels
I
homey.
love the energy of the city. And I'm a late night owl. Although since COVID, we're not late so much anymore around here.
What I noticed about St. Louis when I moved from Colorado, obviously that immediately strikes you or feel a difference is that most people here live inside, either in their offices, but it's rare that you see people walking the streets and just going out.
It wasn't like that before COVID.
It wasn't like that before COVID? Okay.
No, everybody was out. Yeah, I feel like COVID just shifted so much.
You felt like a big office space to me.
Yeah.
So hopefully it's going to change. By the way, we're going to have the Mental Health Festival, June 27, 2026 at Francis Park. I would love to see more people hanging out. We're going to be offering a yoga class, chair massages, and lots of counseling and even puppy therapy. So,
we need puppy therapy.
What is one ingredient that you trust deeply?
Aloe.
Aloe. Okay, yeah, that's the other.
I take it internally and externally.
Really? How do you take internally?
I drink it.
You drink it. Okay.
Aloe vera juice.
Okay, interesting. Cool. Well, what surprised you about this conversation?
Nothing. It kind of felt like what I thought it would feel like. Because I think we're so similar in the circles that we run.
Yes.
And you are always so thoughtful and like intuitive and your thoughts are always like
that's immediately. I'm so glad. I appreciate that. Where can people find you?
So people can find me at itsyourbusinessradio.com. They can message me there, or at sageskincare.com. They can email me there, or my direct email, which is melissa@sageskincare.com, and Melissa is Melissa.
All right. And you're also on Facebook and Instagram?
Always, yes.
Always. Okay. That's the beauty, the blessing and the curse of being constantly online. It's true. Before we wrap up, is there anything that hasn't yet had a voice?
I don't think so. But what's your favorite book that you're reading right now?
Right now I'm reading this book right here because I'm a big fan of Dr. Hawkins. I'm reading The Final Doorway to Enlightenment, Prayer, Transcendence, and Realization of the Self. Okay. So, but it all goes back to his map of consciousness, right? So, in understanding how thoughts are so powerful, thoughts can either build or destroy.
Absolutely.
And so if we do have empowering thoughts, the whole body system goes strong, can test strong physically. If we have disempowering thoughts, when you're coming from fear, anger, grief, apathy, even pride itself can be destructive of its own. The pride of a nation, America, the best country in the world, the strongest, that's got the most, that is destructive in and of itself. And everything that is destructive, again, it comes from force, which is temporary, which consumes a lot of energy, moves from location to location. And again, it's designed not to be, to enhance life. It's designed instead to appreciate the grace of creation. You must step into the higher levels of consciousness. And this is what Dr. Hawkins has taught me so far. So understanding, starting at the level of courage, embracing the day with the inner wealth, the inner power, and seeing reality through the loving lens. It's called the loving consciousness. When you see a much friendlier world by approaching things and situations from a heart base, just like you've been telling. us today about how you see people primarily as humans first, with the same wants and needs, which are primary, rather than seeing the dichotomy, seeing the black and white, seeing the rich or poor, seeing the man and female, the masculine and the feminine.
Right.
So essentially, it all roads lead to Rome. And I often, one of the takeaways, the biggest takeaways that I have from Dr. Hawkins is that even in the most disastrous situations like alcohol addictions or drug substance abuse, the ego has to hit the bottom to find God. Ego needs to hit bottom. So some people are skeptical. Some people still needs to find their way in whatever shape that might take form. But it will eventually, you will hit the same wall. And in order to break through the wall, you need to find divinity, however you wish to conceptualize it. Exactly. So that's been my experience. So this is what I'm reading. I'm reading this one, but I highly recommend the trilogy: Power versus Force, Letting Go, the Pathway of Surrender, and The Eye of the Eye, where nothing is hidden. So, well, I appreciate you so much for having here. Thank you so much, truly, for your presence, your honesty, your authenticity, the depth you brought into the space today. What stands out to me is not just what you built, but how you built it with discernment, reverence, and a steady devotion to integrity. That's increasingly rare, both personally and in business these days. For those listening, you'll find links to Sage Skincare Solutions, Missy's radio shows, and ways to connect in the description below. If this conversation resonated, I invite you to sit with it, not rush past it. These dialogues are meant to be lived with and not just consumed. This has been Yogaphora Conversations. I am Andrea Spadafora, licensed massage therapist, yoga instructor, and Italian language tutor, interpreter, and translator. Until next time, much health and much grace. Arrivederci. Thank you so much, Missy.
Thank you.
It's been an honor.